All right, here we go. Never a dull moment in Gator Nation. What a roller coaster of a day right here on this Saturday. I'm coming at you Saturday night right here, live stream on YouTube. But hey, plenty to talk about. Been a busy, busy day. 2 episodes before, but let's wrap up this Saturday night with 3 more commits for the Gators in this class of 2024. Let's get into it right here on Gators Breakdown.
Gators Breakdown, because there's never a dull moment in Gator Nation.
It was not dull today. I am the host of Gators Breakdown, David Waters. You can find me on Twitter at GatorDave_SEC. I never knew what I was getting myself into when I made the moniker, There's Never a Dull Moment in Gator Nation. But guys, you know just as good as I do, that moniker holds up. And this Saturday, could not be any more exemplary of the example of this Saturday is it's nuts. It is nuts. We get such a bad news to start the day, and then 4 commits later, we're all happy, joyous again, as we should be. But it just lets you know the roller coaster that goes along with being a Gator fan, of following this team, caring so much about this team in orange and blue. It's nuts. It's nuts. But let's get into the meat of this episode, of course. So, the Gators got the day started on the recruiting trail with commits by getting tight end Amir Jackson, but that was last episode. There's that episode already out there for you guys on YouTube, of course. I've been busy today following this stuff, having life a little bit. Amir Jackson commits. I leave the house, come back to the house, and boom, pow, pow, pow. 3 commits for the Florida Gators. Aaron Chiles at linebacker, and then Nasir Johnson, Amaris Williams on the defensive line. Gators get 2 defensive line commits right there. So big pickups for the Gators on the defensive side of the ball after getting that tight end commit earlier in the day. So plenty to get into. Like, subscribe. This episode right here is probably going to be pretty up there. Hey, let's just go. It just came in my head. Let's just set the like record. I don't know what the like record is. Maybe I'll go back and try and find it, but right here while we're right now, I know Saturday night might be a little hard to do. So if you're watching live, everybody hit that like button. Let's try and set some kind of record. I don't know what the record is. And then if you're watching replay, hit that like button as well. Subscribe to Gators Breakdown if you haven't done so yet. You get notifications when we go live on episodes like this. Join Gators Breakdown Plus. Might be the busiest overall day we've had on there. Maybe the Utah game last year and the big win and the Rashada situation, all that might be up there as well. But today has been overall a good day right here on Gators Breakdown Plus. The link is in the description to get access to that Discord server, commercial-free episodes as well. So it's really, you got to get it going right there with some conversations with some fellow Gator fans, but plenty to get into, guys, of just recruiting. It never stops. The world doesn't stop spinning. We've been waiting for these big names to pop. These official visit weekends. This is the 3rd one in a row for the Gators. And, man, it really got it going right here. I had to be a little patient. I screamed patience. I got the frustration, and it pays off. It pays off right here for the Florida Gators there. But one, shout out Florida Victorious as well. Florida's new NIL leading the way there. It doesn't happen with people like that leading the way here, going a long way. Recruits notice how important NIL is. Florida Victorious doing it the right way. Everything going on behind the scenes there. Of course, that MADE challenge, the match challenge, $2 million match or $4 million total. Look, recruits notice. So all the positive mojo and spin out there we can put on Florida's NIL, led by Florida Victorious. We can put it out there. Join that too. If you can. Really good interview there with Bob Redmond and David Sertiquist there with who was it? Des Watson and I'm drawing a blank. I'm drawing a blank right now. But anyway, good interview right there with Florida Victorious. Right there. Dante Zanders. There we go. Just popped in my head. Tight end Dante Zanders right there with Florida Victorious. So, all right, we know how we do it right here. When we talk recruiting, when we talk commits, there's only one way to do it. Let's get excited. I'm excited. I know you're excited out there. But this is a big day right here. Didn't start off all too well with the Austin Simmons news, but you know what? We'll forget about that for now. We will move forward. And guys, you know how we do it. Let's start off. This is how we do it. Gator Nation, We got to commit, and this one, big. Big. One of the surprise of the weekends. Maybe trending a little bit this weekend with the storyline I'll tell you here about linebacker Aaron Chiles commits to the Florida Gators, 6'3", 220-pound linebacker from Maryland, 4-star on the 24/7 Sports Composite, 4-star on the On3 industry rankings. He is the 80th overall player on the 24/7 Sports Composite, 6th ranked linebacker. The On3 industry ranking has him as the 109th overall player and the 9th ranked linebacker. So Brian Doan of 24/7 has this analysis of one Aaron Chiles. Has verified speed, but does not have verified speed markers. Can easily play at 225 to 230. During several in-person evaluations, burst, instincts, and physical style of play stood out. Team leader with high football IQ, productive, reliable player, lines up in various spots, including blitzing off the edge and as an inside linebacker. Great body control, can contort to slip through gaps and dip to get around the edge. Diagnoses plays quickly, runs well, chases plays down from behind, fills run gaps, and is a sure tackler. Athleticism is evident in person and on tape, is strong against the run, willing to take on blocks, and can stack and shed. Navigates traffic, locates the ball carrier well, especially in the box. Tackles through ball carrier, also delivers the big hit. Understands not only his assignment, but can direct the defense. Is impressive with drop depth and coverage, does not bail on assignments, closing speed flashes when playing downhill, moves well laterally, and shows ability to get to the sideline. Has to continue to develop technique and increase coverage ability, can play early at a top 10 program, early to mid-round NFL draft potential. Corey Bender, a good friend from On3, Gators Online, he says, with Chiles, this is a versatile linebacker prospect who could ultimately settle down as the Gators' jack position. He currently weighs in at around 230, has a frame that could really expand on the next level. 2024 prospect primarily lines up on edge in high school as well, so that's a strong level of familiarity in that role. Does a great job of wreaking havoc as a pass rusher, shows good closing speed, once gaining the upper hand on an offensive tackle. He typically plays standing up, provides that thud at the point of attack. Once the ball is snapped, that relentless style of play is on full display. While Chiles is most effective when rushing the passer or assisting the run, also shows decent change of direction when reacting to the ball, especially for his size. And once he does change direction, it does not take him long to accelerate, pick up ground. That alone makes him a high-level prospect due to his size and instincts, dangerous combination for a linebacker. Another part of Chiles' game that stands out is his ability to play under control. He explodes into the backfield in a hurry, but keeps his eyes forward, rarely overplays the ball carrier. He also does a great job of pursuing from the backside, shows great effort, play in and play out. If it's not the jack position, Chiles fits best in the middle of the defense. Diagnoses plays in a hurry, rarely out of position. He needs to improve his overall ability and coverage, but does a lot of things very well. So whether it's rushing the passer or operating as a leader in the middle of the defense, the Gators are getting a versatile defender who will likely fill up the stat sheet in Gainesville. He is everywhere on the field. Also, kudos to inside linebacker coach Jay Bateman. He has constructed arguably the top linebacker class in the country and is still on the hunt with Chris Jones on the market. So there's your analysis of one Aaron Chiles, and just how good this linebacker class was already. You had Miles Graham, you had Adarius Hayes, and we knew Florida was going to go after another linebacker. Like, I think we would have been just happy with Miles Graham, just happy with Adarius Hayes. Those two guys right there, we would have been satisfied moving forward in this 2024 class with just those two linebackers. Well, you know what? Florida's like, hey, we'll get 3, we'll get 4 maybe. Chris Jones out there visiting Georgia this week. Absolutely not a necessary need now. You get Chiles in the fold. I mean, if you can go get him and he wants to come in with other linebackers and stuff, but I mean, you got a more highly rated linebacker right here in Aaron Chiles. And, we felt really good about Chris Jones, probably still feel really good about Chris Jones, but does this change? I mean, it's kind of the same thing for Chiles. Michigan filled up. It was just a matter of timing, honestly. Not that Michigan was taking the guys over him, but timing was a part of it here. So, Chris Jones could wait himself out of a spot. He could have committed to the Gators 2 weeks ago, but he wanted to take that visit to Georgia this weekend. May now not have a spot. at the University of Florida. So we'll see how it plays out. We'll see if Florida still pursues. I think they will. But how does this affect him as well? I guess is another way of looking at it. So I mean, you can't with just Graham and Hayes, we could have been completely satisfied. I think we're even more ecstatic in how it plays out now with Chiles. But it does go to show this great linebacker room Jay Bateman has constructed this cycle. I mean, big kudos to him. Big kudos to him. So with Darius Hayes and Miles Graham committed, guys, I'm about to tell you how historic this linebacker class is. It was already pretty good. I'm about to tell you how historic it is for the Gators. So let's go and just look at this class right now. The Darius Hayes, Miles Graham committed. That gives Florida the 51st and 53rd overall ranked players and the 4th and 5th best linebackers that were already committed. The 4th and 5th best linebackers in the country were already committed to the Gators. Now you add Chiles to the group as the 80th overall player in the country, a 6th ranked linebacker. The 4th, 5th, and 6th best linebackers in the country in the 2024 class are right now committed to the Florida Gators. That's the best class in the country right now. Three for quantity, and they're all three top 10 guys, top 5-ish guys. But what about historically? I mean, you've got to really put that up there as far as recruiting rankings go. Now, we know what these guys have to go out there and prove it on the field. But what do recruiting rankings show? Go back to the early 2000s and when they started keeping up with this, all these recruiting services. I'm about to tell you how historic this is. So this would also push for the best program haul at the linebacker spot. And there's two other classes you have to look at for a historical perspective. You'd be putting this 2024 haul up there with the class of 2009 and the class of 2013. In 2009, Florida signed the top linebacker in the country, Jelani Jenkins, and then they signed John Bostic as well, who was a 4th-ranked linebacker in that class. So the top overall and the 4th overall. That one's going to be hard to beat. But you got 3 of them right here. That's top 5. Top 5 to 6. So to kind of let you know, this is what you're putting up against. So Jenkins is the highest-rated linebacker Florida has ever signed. Bostic is the 8th. So Jenkins was the top in his class, the top Florida has ever signed. Bostic, the 4th-ranked in that class, and the 8th overall. In the class of 2013, Florida signed their 4th and 5th best-rated linebackers ever. Alex Anzalone and Daniel McMillan. Anzalone was the 4th best linebacker in the class of 13 and the 4th highest ever at Florida. McMillan, 6th best in the 2013 class and the 5th best overall at Florida. So right now, comparatively, looking at it, historically for Florida, Hayes would be the 6th highest linebacker Florida was to sign, while Graham would be the 7th. Chiles would be the 13th highest. So this class, if it stays true, stays where it is right now, would produce the 6th, 7th, and 13th best linebackers since the early 2000s. And you're putting it up there with some of the best to do it. I mean, Bostic and Jenkins, those guys speak for themselves. Anzalone, of course, was banged up a bit, but probably a better pro than he was a college player. But, just couldn't stay healthy enough at Florida. Daniel McMillan, the only one really on this list he's okay player. And nothing that stood out. Didn't live up to the recruiting ranking. Jenkins, Bostic did. Anzalone did kind of somewhat if he probably could have stayed healthy, as I said. But, his worth is really shot up in the NFL. I mean, you get any kind of production out of these 3 guys that are coming in this class of 2024, of those guys I just mentioned, Florida's in good shape. But 3 of the best right now, if they stay, that's how historic this class would be. You'd put them right up there with the best to ever do it at Florida as far as recruiting rankings go, of course. And in a single class. So, guys, we have to kind of go back and look at this. This is after only bringing in Jaden Robinson in the last class, missing on Grayson Howard, Malik Bryant, Jordan Hall. This was absolutely needed by Jay Bateman and staff, and kudos to Jay Bateman. I was holding some patience with him. I talked to enough people behind the scenes and say, no, he's better than what he showed last cycle, and certainly has been able to take advantage, in the Carolinas and up there in that area where he had a little bit of background, of course. And that's really, really paid off. I mean, it was disappointing last cycle. We know that, and he had to rebound, and boy, has he so ever. It was too hard for me to get too worked up. Now, don't get me wrong. You guys know I love Pup Howard here in Jacksonville. Got a little bit of relationship with him. I was a little bit heartbroken not to see him in orange and blue, but, I wasn't getting too worked up over those results because I was hearing too many good things about Bateman. But it was time to put it together. It was time to go out there and put it together and look good. Well, he's done so. So looking at this, Jay Bateman right now is the second overall recruiter on 24/7 Sports recruiter rankings. Second overall, only behind Fran Brown at Georgia. He's ahead of Terry Smith of Penn State and Brian Hartline of the Buckeyes. So I tell you, I mean, that just lets you know how good this linebacker class is. And we'll see if Florida adds even more to it. But guys, I mean, look, how bad has the defense been? How bad has the defense been for years now? Well, Aaron Chiles, 80th overall player right here, and you're bringing him in at the linebacker spot. And this position group, I'm excited to see how it plays out. I'm excited to see how it plays out the rest of the cycle, see if Florida even adds anymore, and just how to see once these guys get on the field. Graham, Hayes, Chiles. I mean, this is something to get excited about. And I am. I hope you are. I mean, this was a big one. Look, we started hearing rumblings this week because, as I said, go back to the Michigan and how it just played out there, timing being a part of it, them filling up. I think Florida's going to be in good shape anyway about this. But the Michigan, I'm not going to lie here, it helped out a bit. But then in-state Maryland might have been a school to watch out for right here. They were going to be making a push, and nope, Florida's getting it done right here, getting that commitment right here from Aaron Chiles. So that was I'm kind of working maybe a little backwards here. That was the latest commit right here on this Saturday, but the biggest and one of the biggest surprises I thought. So starting with that, being just one mainly because of what's being done at this linebacker spot, but also just to start with the highest player right here, and the one that was just coming off the heels of this where I went live. So all right, well, hey, let's keep it going. Florida wasn't done. Florida, as I said, 4 commits for the day. Already discussed 2 of them, one earlier today, one right here in this episode, of course, and now let's keep it going. Gator Nation, hey, we got to commit. This time it is Nasir Johnson. 24/7 Sports has him as a 4-star. On 3, a 4-star as well. All of these guys 4 stars today. Florida's raking in. 24/7 Sports Composite has Nasir Johnson as the 250th overall player, 30th ranked defensive lineman. On 3 has him as the 245th overall player and 26th ranked defensive lineman. 6'5", 303-pound defensive lineman, massive size here, reported 84-inch wingspan from Dublin, Georgia. Another Georgia native picking the Gators today. And this one's pretty nice. We were feeling good about this one coming into this weekend. Named Florida his leader not long ago. August looked like the original timeline, but the Gators get it done here. Was supposed to visit FSU next weekend, but here we go. There was the interest from Georgia as well. That was legit. Don't let you I'm sure people will talk you out of that one, but there was interest from the home state Bulldogs here. Just come off a South Carolina visit, but remember he visited back on June 1st. Called Florida his leader, then returned this weekend. That was the final piece. So start looking at the type of player Nasir Johnson is. He says, they see me doing the 4 hour, the 5, playing around that area, being able to show my versatility, show where I can play in pass downs and run downs as well. They can use me in a lot of ways in their defense. I feel like I can fit into what they want to do, especially the way they want to use me. I won't have to be a big body type in the middle. I can move a bit more outside and move around. What he told Swamp 24/7's Blake Alderman a couple weeks ago. But if you go look at his huddle a bit, I mean, he shows really good play recognition, the ability to shed blocks and double teams. Certainly, if you go look at it, he's bigger than a lot of competition in the highlights. He shows the willingness to chase down plays. When he gets to the ball carrier, he is looking to inflict pain. He plays violent, and that is what you want in your defensive line. I think Florida's kind of missed that a bit, a violent player up front. So, probably plays a little high at times. He can just kind of overpower opponents with his size compared to the opponents he's playing, but really, really high potential developmental piece right here along the defensive line. Play some offensive line as well, so he got some versatility to play both sides of the ball. But another one where I think you really have to point out Jay Bateman, because Jay Bateman, of course, you got your areas that you're responsible for here too. Pretty good. Pretty good here for Jay Bateman. Defensive line coach Sean Spencer, of course, cannot be overlooked here with this position group. But Jay Bateman, another, kind of paying off here. This is going to be the Jay Bateman episode as well because of Amaris Williams, Florida, another defensive line commit we'll get into in just a second, but plays dividend there too. And off-field assistant Callie James also playing a big part here. He's thrown Nasir Johnson. He's grown close to all those three names right there: Bateman, Spencer, James, and now Florida. That was adding along the defensive line here, absolutely needed. Amaris Williams was the first one to pop today, giving Florida the first defensive line commit, but Nasir was the one we kind of expected. And look, what did I say early on today about guys that we were feeling good about? This was going to be the weekend that needed to pay off. You can't go 3 weekends about, hey, all right, it's trending Florida this way, only to kind of come out of the weekend and not get the commitment. Well, Nasir was one of these guys that we were feeling good about coming in this weekend. Name Florida his leader. Florida capitalized it, seals the deal. Nasir Johnson is now a Gator right here. And he was the second defensive lineman to come today. And we got one more. Let's keep it going. Gator Nation, let's go. We got to commit another one. Amaris Williams, 6'3", 270 pounds, from Clinton, North Carolina. This one's a bit of a surprise today. A couple surprises today for the Gators. A lot of people thought Penn State may be right here, but 4-star on the 24/7 Sports Composite, 4-star on the On3 industry rankings, 186th overall player, 23rd ranked defensive lineman, 180th overall in the On3 industry, 21st ranked defensive lineman there. So he says to play in his edge and a defensive end type deal at the 3 tech. So, at 270, that seems to be ideal in playing in that role. He wants to play the 3 tech, but may be able to move around if needed. Plays with great energy, shows really impressive change of direction. Does Amaris Williams. And kind of an athlete as well. Carried the ball 32 times for 251 yards and 5 touchdowns. Caught 1 pass, a 25-yard touchdown as well. But here we go. The stats right here for this player out of North Carolina. Amaris Williams made 65 tackles, 44 tackles for a loss, including 18 sacks. There were 4 contests in which he tallied at least 3 sacks last year in 2022. He also totaled 6 games where he finished with at least 4 tackles for a loss. So a playmaker behind the line of scrimmage is one Amaris Williams. One more time. 65 tackles. 44 of those were tackles for a loss. 18 sacks. A stat machine right here up front along the defensive line. So as I said, many thought Penn State was a school to beat here. There's been some Penn State storylines kind of shining through here for Florida this recruiting cycle, but Penn State seemed to be the school to trending here. That's kind of why this one kind of maybe seemed a bit of a surprise. But once again, Jay Bateman comes through in an area that he knows so well up there in North Carolina, helps out here, and pulls in another. So this was also one Florida kind of sped up here. It was supposed to be an August decision here for Williams, and Florida sped it up. So, all right, let's go. You feel good? You feel good this weekend? Let's get it done. So, no, we're not waiting until August. The Gators get a commitment right here from it. Amaris Williams, And look, he was going to visit Tennessee next weekend, but he'll no longer do that. So that's a big bonus, a big plus too for Florida getting in the ears. And hey, let's shut it down. Let's shut this down a bit. So he was the first defensive line commit for the Gators, of course, when he committed. So now 2 for the Gators on this Saturday. Amaris Williams and of course Nasir Johnson. Big pickups for the Gators. We're wondering, where's the defensive line we're recruiting at. Florida fills in 2 right here. Another one, of course, big time linebacker, being able to pull in Aaron Chiles. I mean, a great day for the defensive side of the ball for the Gators. And look, I don't think they're done this weekend. But what did I say earlier in the Austin Simmons episode as well? So nothing's 100%. I just say, we'll just kind of keep your ear open the next couple of days or so, see how it all plays out. But this is expected. This good expected weekend's continuing. Hope to continue for the Gators here on the recruiting trail. So this big weekend, hopefully paying off for the Gators right here. As a look, we've been talking about the last couple of weeks. It was time now for some of these guys to. You got all these visits. It's kind of the same storyline as last year for Florida. Not many commits off the visits, straight off the visit. Well, I mean, this last official visit weekend, it is paying off. These guys are visiting and committing, but it kind of played out that way last year too. Of not so many early June, mid-June, but then the storm comes, and here we go. Might just be the way. It might just be the way it plays out a bit. So, yeah, it is funny, the storyline of maybe Billy Napier's kind of ticked off at the whole Austin Simmons situation, and this is where this is coming from. I think this was probably going to happen anyway. So the timing of it does make for a good story. But maybe timeline was sped up, maybe. But I do think we were coming into this weekend hearing at least for, of course. Excuse me. I mean, I need some water. Forgot my water. I'm all excited and talking and all that good stuff. But I'll get there back in a second. But of course, Amir Jackson, we were feeling good about him coming in this weekend. All right, you got it. So that had nothing to do with Austin Simmons. Of course, Nasir Johnson, we were feeling good about him. And it has nothing to do with Austin Simmons either. I think those 2 were probably coming this weekend anyway. Now, Amaris Williams, maybe that plays into it. It's kind of a timeline. I don't think so. I don't think it's so much in retaliation for the bad news from Austin Simmons. But hey, I don't care. Either way, Florida's got some really good players here to add to the 2024 class. It was a great start for this 24 class, and now, I mean, you look at it, and man, it's hard not to notice what Florida did today. And if 24/7 Sports rankings, I was hoping right here, if they're updated, which they should be, 13 commits for the Gators and all the way up to 8th. And I think it was, I'm trying to remember off the top of my head, I think it was for sure in the 20s when this Saturday started, 24, I think it was. But now all the way up to 8th. When you go to look at it, still got Florida 2 5 stars, 8 4 stars, 2 3 stars. And when you look at it, of course, it's kind of odd for Florida because they don't have a ranking for Noel P. They're the offensive lineman there from Germany. So definitely have to look at it. And, I don't think they're weighing him too much because of where Florida's at here. But, yeah, really good rebound here for Florida. But they're breaking it down right now. 4 prospects from the state of Georgia committed to the Gators. Only 2 from the state of Florida, 2 from Maryland, 2 from Texas, 1 from Mississippi, and 1 from North Carolina. Of course, quarterback DJ Lagway, 1 running back, 1 receiver, 2 offensive line, 2 defensive line now, 3 linebackers now, 2 defensive backs, and there we go. That's how the class breaks down right now for the Gators. But a big jump for the Gators all the way from 24 to number 8. So, all right, everybody, hey, hit that. Hunter Crane said 22nd. Okay, yeah, I knew it was around there too. The big jump from around the 20th area. So, Captain Trips, here we go. We might have a defense. Hopefully, man. I like Austin Armstrong and that change there, and the way recruiting was last cycle with the defensive backs. I like what Florida brought in the defensive line as well. So, there we go. That was a way to put this defense together right now. The last couple of cycles, and we'll see where it goes there with Austin Armstrong leading the way and putting this class together. And we'll see, fill in the defensive secondary a bit more, and we'll see what happens. More maybe edge rush, outside linebacker for the Gators coming up. So we're not done. Certainly not done with the defensive side of the ball either. But before I get into more of these comments, subscribe if you haven't done so yet. As I said, I don't know what the record is, but hey, let's try and set it either. Anyway, I'm gonna try. I'm gonna try and go back and look. I don't know if I can sort it and find it out, but I'll try. I will try. Excuse me. Let's see. Hunter Crane, there you go. Filling on Michael Burrow on Monday. I'll go Florida right now. That's another one Georgia's interested in as well. I know he's not one of the highly rated prospects out there. Not everybody Georgia gets is a 5-star, by the way. But Michael Burrow, I'd say Florida right now. I do want to chase that up a bit. Today was a pretty busy day, of course, covering all this and some life stuff. But yeah, from what I can gather, Florida's in good shape there. We'll see if that continues into the weekend. Ethan, want to apologize. No disrespect, Ethan. I'm not sure. Like I said, it's been a busy day. I'm not sure what you're apologizing about. So maybe maybe you could have just went along with that. But I'll accept it. Whatever. But Ethan, either way, I don't take any of this stuff too personal. It's fun to just cover it. I know we get emotional at times. As I said, I'm not really sure what you're referencing there, but there we go. Let's all have fun. Let's all have fun together. Let's see. Scott says you need another vacation after today. I do. I got another one in a couple weeks. But hey, this was fun. This is not work when we do this. But let's I'm ready. I can take another vacation. Let's see. Okay, let me come back here to the comments before we Bechet Glenn, Dave Uplake giving us the good news. Absolutely. I was getting ready because of the two defensive line commits, of course, Nasir and Amaris. But then, of course, it was like, all right, there's probably going to be one more. So I was like, oh man, I really want to go live. Let's do this thing. But I needed to hold off, of course, because that's what happened to me this morning. I'm sitting here doing the bad news Austin Simmons episode, and then, hey, look, there we go. We get Amir Jackson committing to the Gators. So in that episode, start another episode. So I was at least trying to give myself some time to maybe pull all three of these recent commits, these Saturday night commits together for an episode. Okay, there we go. Going through some more here. See a lot of, try and get Chris Jones if you can, all that good stuff. Yeah, I mean, if he wants to come with some other linebackers here, I'm all for it. I am all for it. But yeah, I don't think the good news is over with this weekend. Justin Cobb says thoughts on Waller. I feel good about that one too. I think Florida. And that was one I put in Gators Breakdown Plus this week. Somebody asked the same thing, and I think I said cautiously optimistic because there wasn't a lot of news about that. But I was feeling good about that one more so than most, and I feel better about it this weekend. So I think that's one to look out for. Certainly one to look out for. Ryan says, who let Rooster out of the Discord? There we go. So Gators Breakdown Plus members are right here in the YouTube chat. Rooster, Ryan, thanks guys for hopping in here, hopping over from the Discord where, as I said, guys, there's a lot of conversation going on there. It's been an eventful day in there discussing the bad news, and then all of a sudden, hey, we got some good news to discuss. But that's it's life of a Gator fan, right? Life of a Gator fan. But all right, it is getting late. Levi in here too. Way to go. Yep. Thanks for all you Gators Breakdown Plus members. If you haven't done so yet, as I said, It'd be I'd be grateful for your support. Trying to build some great stuff there. Gators Breakdown Plus. Hey, you get some benefits, some custom episodes. I'll be doing a chat coming up this week with all this recruiting news. There'll be a custom chat for members this week, and a lot more custom episodes, especially during the season, of course. But chats going on there all the time. You can interact with me, interact with a whole lot of fellow Gator fans. Commercial-free episodes as well of Gators Breakdown Plus. So that'll do it for this episode of Gators Breakdown. Big recruiting day for the Gators. Enjoy the good news. Enjoy the good news. I can't say it any more than that. I know we get frustrated. We do. But when the good news comes, enjoy it just as much as you slam the bad news. So that'll do it for this episode of Gators Breakdown. I'm your host, David Waters. You can find me on Twitter at GatorDave_SEC. Guys and girls out there, thank you for joining me on this episode of Gators Breakdown.